What if I told you that every time you get emotionally triggered, your brain is actually trying to protect you? The problem is it's using a map from 20 years ago. Let's talk about how to update that. You've tried everything, right? A lot of us have tried yoga, breathing exercises, counting to 10, positive affirmations, starting to sound familiar. But that trigger, when it happens, it still gets us, right? Why? Why does it still get you? Because you're treating a neurological loop like it's a bad habit. And honestly, you can't break it with willpower alone. Here's the science. What's actually happening when that trigger hits your nervous system, something happens in your outer reality. Someone says something, someone looks at you a certain way. Here's what's actually happening. When the trigger hits, your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, poof, goes offline. You are instantly in that panic mode, survival mode. We call it fight or flight. It's actually fight, flight, or fawn, depending on a few different factors. This is the amygdala hijack. You aren't thinking at that point. You're simply surviving. Think of it like a path through the woods, right? If you keep walking down the same path, the deeper the groove gets. And this is what happens in our minds as well. Our brains create these neurological pathways, and the more and more we react the same way to stimuli, those paths just get deeper and deeper ingrained. So your brain isn't trying to ruin your life. Um, it's actually trying to keep you safe. But the problem is it's trying to keep you safe based on old data. So the brain sees this small cloud and thinks, nope, that's a huge storm because it's survived a storm before. Something in your past was a storm. And now when you see a cloud, it feels like that storm is on you again. This is why most advice that's out there doesn't work. It fails. Some will tell you to suppress your emotional reaction, that flare when you're triggered, and that will just build pressure until you explode. Others will tell you, let it all out, scream into your pillow. And honestly, there's a place for that, but that just reinforces the loop. So neither approach actually works to address the root of the problem because neither of those addresses the source of that neurological loop. So, how do we reteach our brains a new way of reacting? I call it my timeline hacking method. I call it the trigger reset method. It has 3 steps. Step one is the pause. You acknowledge that you can't stop the lightning, but you can stop the thunder, right? So something happens and we recognize there's a little bit of awareness. We're like, okay, something's happening. I'm triggered. We pause, we breathe. All it takes is a 3-second, just that small gap between the stimulus and your response. Breathing, so powerful because you're interrupting the loop. Mm. Yeah. Step two, the inquiry. Now, in this step, we are going to ask yourself, in this step, you ask yourself, is this reaction about right now, or is this an old wound? This is such an important question to ask for many different reasons, but one of them is that this question brings your logical brain back online. That prefrontal cortex, it's firing again because you asked that question. And that gets us to step 3, the alchemy. So instead of fighting the feeling, we start to ask questions. We start to get to know that part that's triggered. We ask, what are you trying to protect me from? How do you feel about that? Do you like doing that job? And the more questions you ask, the more we uncover this beautiful gift, this gift of healing. And it's kind of hiding in plain sight, you might say. Now, I'm going to be straight with you. No fluff. Breaking a 20-year-old neural loop is pretty hard to do alone. Not impossible. Okay, but it's hard. It requires a guide to help you navigate those shadows without getting lost. And this is exactly what we do in my trigger reset sessions. We don't just talk about the problem. We go deep to investigate the source, where this pattern came from. We make friends with that part of you. And like good friends, we get to know each other. So you'll ask questions of this young part that you've uncovered. And often that part will have questions for you as well, the grown up you. And you get to have this really beautiful conversation. And then we get to the real alchemy. The good news, you don't have to stay stuck in that loop forever. If you're ready to stop the cycle, if you're ready to stop the cycle and turn your triggers into your greatest gifts, I want to help you. Click the link in the description to book your one-on-one trigger reset session with me. And if you're not ready yet, I understand. Please subscribe and hit the bell. We are diving deep into emotional alchemy here at Fierce Divine Life. And I'll see you in the next one.